were the ingredients of the holy anointing oil and pure incense? This is the question that we seek to answer today as we continue our verse-by-verse study of the book of Exodus on walking through the Bible.
The glory of his cross.
If you have a Bible with you, you can turn to Exodus 37. We're going to be reading verses 25 to 29. If you don't have a Bible, don't worry. Just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So, Exodus 37, beginning at verse 25. He made the incense altar of acacia wood. Its length was a cubit, and its width a cubit. It was square, and 2 cubits was its height. Its horns were of one piece with it, and he overlaid it with pure gold, its top, its sides, all around, and its horns. He also made for it a molding of gold all around it. He made 2 rings of gold for it under its molding, by its 2 corners on both sides, as holders for the poles with which to bear it. And he made the poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with gold. He made the holy anointing oil and the pure incense of sweet spices, according to the work of the perfumer. In this section of Exodus, we have the children of Israel actually making the tabernacle, following the instructions that we read of earlier in the book. As we said in previous episodes, we're going to review what we learned from chapters 25 through 31, following the readings of each section. The instructions we read of today were found in chapter 30, lessons 118, 121, and 122 in this series. The first thing we read of was that the altar of incense was made. This altar was made of acacia wood and measured 1 cubit long by 1 cubit wide, making it square by 2 cubits high. A cubit is 45.72 centimeters or 1.5 feet, so the altar measured 45.72 centimeters long by 45.72 centimeters wide by 91.44 centimeters high, or 1.5 feet long by 1.5 feet high by 3 feet tall. The altar of incense would have horns and was made of one piece, making them part of the actual altar. The altar of incense was overlaid with pure gold. A molding of gold was also made all around this altar. It would need to be transported while Israel was in the desert, like the other holy items, therefore it needed rings. 2 gold rings were placed thus on each side. To carry it, 2 poles of acacia wood overlaid with gold were made. The chapter concludes by telling us that the holy anointing oil and pure incense were created. From chapter 30, we found that the holy anointing oil was made in exact proportions. Each ingredient was determined by the shekel. If we assume the shekel mentioned here is the shekel mentioned earlier on in Exodus, then each shekel would weigh about 12 grams or 0.4 ounces. The first ingredient was liquid myrrh, as well as cassia, which would weigh about 6 kilograms or 200 ounces, 13 pounds. The cinnamon and sweet-smelling cane, being half that amount, would thus weigh 3 kilograms or 7.5 pounds. A hin of olive oil is about 5.68 liters or 1.5 gallons. As for the ingredients themselves, myrrh comes from a plant that would yield 2 types of myrrh, one that is released spontaneously and one that is released when you cut it into the bark. The myrrh that is released spontaneously is the best myrrh, so since God required the spices of best quality, this would be the type of myrrh used. The cinnamon talked about is a far rarer spice than myrrh and comes from the inner bark or rind of trees in the laurel tree family. This type of plant is found in Arabia, so it was available for the Israelites to use. Sweet-smelling cane or calamus are aromatic reeds that would be present in the area, while cassia is the aromatic bark from the evergreen tree that is distinct, though similar to the tree which traditional cinnamon is derived from. When combined together by a perfumer, these ingredients in these proportions made the holy anointing oil the Lord desired. As for the pure incense, it was made of 3 sweet spices. Stacte, a spice that is a gum or resin that exudes from a tree. It is difficult to determine what exactly is meant here, but some believe it is storax, a deciduous shrub. The second sweet spice is onycha. Like with stacte, this ingredient is difficult to determine as well, with some believing it to be some type of shelled animal that lived in the sea, which would be used to perfume. The third sweet spice is galbanum. It is an aromatic gum produced in some Persian plants. Even though we may not know for certain what each of these ingredients were, the Israelites would have known, so they could have obeyed God fully. These 3 sweet spices were mixed with frankincense, one of the most important of the aromatic gums used as a precious perfume. You may recall that along with myrrh mentioned in the anointing oil, frankincense was another item given to Jesus at his birth due to its value. Unlike in the anointing oil, where each ingredient was to be in different proportions, the ingredients for the incense were to be in the same proportions. We do not get what these proportions are, signaling that Israel did get some choice in this matter, so long as the ingredients were used in the same proportions. With that, our time is up for today. We will be taking our 2-week autumn break and the Lord willing, we'll return on Monday, October 7th, 2019. When we return, we'll take up with Exodus 38, verses 1 to 8. We hope that you'll come back and join us for that discussion, when we will continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time. Thank you for watching today's episode. We hope that you found it edifying and ask that you not only subscribe to our channel and podcast, but that you like and share this episode among your friends, so that the saving gospel of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.